Today we are going to deal with the text Space Tourist, provided in our books on page 40 and 41. But before we do so, we want to throw an eye on the vocabulary that is relevant for this text. You can find this vocabulary on page 130 and 131. So please join in the read and repeat which comes next. 6, 5, 4, ignition, take off. Science fiction, businessman, cosmonaut, return ticket, including accommodation, bargain, paradise, delay, billion, to waste, used to do something, luggage, thought, to vary, plus, shorts, spacesuit, space shuttle, long-term, resident, crew, commander, system, to carry out, weightlessness, research, effect, infobox. The content of the text we are about to read dates back to the year 2001. Back then, Dennis Tito, a millionaire, was involved in the space travel for the first time. He really caught fire and he has kept the flame burning since then. Therefore, Mr. Tito is currently involved in planning a second trip to space. This time, he has another destination. Guess where he wants to travel to? The ISS? Or our moon can be excluded in the first place. It is the planet Mars. By the time he did his first trip to space, he was 64. I think we all wish him that his dream will be fulfilled within his mortal span. Okay, let's deal with the text about his first space travel.
Space tourist.
How would you like a holiday in space? A week on the moon? 2 weeks on a space station? This isn't science fiction because people have already had holidays in space. The first was 60-year-old Dennis Tito, an American businessman from California. At the end of April 2001, Mr. Tito and 2 Russian cosmonauts blasted off in a Russian Soyuz rocket and traveled to the International Space Station 230 miles from the Earth. His return ticket cost $20 million, including food and accommodation. It was hardly a last-minute bargain, but Mr. Tito thought it was worth it. It was great, he said, when he returned to Earth on the 6th of May. I just came back from paradise. I spent 60 years on Earth and 8 days in space, and it was 2 separate lives. Not everything has gone as well as it could have with the ISS project. There have been computer problems and lots of delays. There was a disaster in 2003 when 7 astronauts were killed over Texas. There have also been arguments between the US and Russia about money. The project is so expensive it could cost $100 billion. Some people said the money was being wasted and could be better spent on smaller projects on Earth, but Dennis Tito isn't one of them. Mr. Tito used to work for NASA as a rocket engineer, so he already knew something about space, but he still had to do several months of tough training at Star City, the cosmonaut training center near Moscow, before he was ready for the trip. He wasn't able to take a lot of luggage, but he packed a camera, a tape recorder to record his thoughts, and a CD player. His 8 CDs included opera and the Beatles. At the ISS, he took a lot of photos of the marvelous views, but he had to do it through the windows, because of course he wasn't allowed to open them. Outside, the temperature varied from plus 120 to minus 157 degrees. He didn't have to worry about whether he should take a pair of shorts or not. He had to wear a grey spacesuit the whole time. The Americans weren't very pleased when the Russians told them that Mr. Tito would travel to the space station. The Americans didn't think he had the right qualifications. He would get in the way. It would be too dangerous. The ISS was a serious project and tourists should be kept away. The Russians didn't agree, and anyway, they needed the money. So, after a lot of arguments, the trip went ahead. Mr. Tito was only the first space tourist. The Americans changed their minds when they saw how the idea of space tourism was increasing public interest in the project. We know that space travel is dangerous, but it is likely that there will be more opportunities for those who want a very special experience. And for only a few $1 million.
The International Space Station, ISS, is the largest international space project ever. A number of countries are taking part. They include the US, Russia, Canada, Japan, Brazil, Germany, and 9 other European countries. Work began on building the ISS in November 1998, and in May 1999, a space shuttle docked there for the first time. In the first year, there were 79 visitors from 6 different countries. In November 2000, a Russian spacecraft took the first long-term residents to the space station. There were 3 members of the crew on Expedition 1. The commander was NASA astronaut Bill Shepard, and with him were 2 Russian cosmonauts, Yuri Gidzenko and Sergei Krikelyov. The ISS orbits the Earth every 90 minutes. It is about the size of a football field and has huge solar panels which use the power of the sun to run its computers and other systems. The place is partly a hotel and partly a scientific laboratory. A number of experiments are being carried out there which can only be done in conditions of weightlessness. Research is being done which could help to fight diseases on Earth. And scientists hope to find out more about the effect on humans of life in space.
Okay, we have arrived at the final part of this clip. Believe it or not, it is about your homework, which is of course strongly connected to the text we have just dealt with. I want you to do exercise number 4, 5 and 6. They can be found on page 41 or on page 42. There is no explanation needed in connection to exercise number 4. You should just find the info they ask for in the text. Exercise 5 makes it necessary to open the books, because you will have to decide which of the provided headings go with which paragraph of the text. Last but not least, exercise 6 asks you to form one word out of 2, as these 3 examples already show you. Take 2 single words out of the box and fit them into one of these 10 sentences. This last task, exercise number 6, has to be done in fully written form into your exercise folders because, among other reasons, we have to work with these 10 sentences a little more later. See you next time. Bye bye.